welcome to the video. I wanted to talk about my mental health journey and just the steps that I took towards going to therapy and what led me to therapy, because there's a stigma around mental health and getting help. Like, people think you gotta be crazy to wanna seek out help from a therapist, or you have to be hearing voices in your head, or you have to dissociate, or you have to be hallucinating or whatever. You can literally get help for any situation in your life. Me, how I started was I was dealing with a lot of heavy shit, you know. And for the last, I'd say, 5 years, it's been on a downward spiral, is what I would say. And in the culture that I was raised, you know, like, getting help for your mental health and all of that wasn't really discussed, you know, or even just knowing that you need to take care of yourself. And I didn't learn any of those things. I didn't learn a lot, really. So I was hesitant for a long time. But I then started to really get into these psychology documentaries, and I watched this one account on YouTube called Med Circle, and Dr. Romney was on there, and she was speaking about some illnesses and the symptoms and all of this. And I really connected to one of the illnesses that she was talking about, and all the symptoms I basically had except for one or two. And I was like, damn, this is so perfect. This is me, you know, this is me. This is me to the T. I could understand myself. I had a description to exactly what I was going through emotionally and mentally. I have medical insurance, you know. Why not utilize the resources I have? Yeah, I called the Department of Mental Health Services up, told them what I felt like I had wrong with me, and then they directed me to a center that was nearby. They put in a referral for me, and that made the process easy, because, you know, I would spend hours looking for the right place to go to, and it was just driving me nuts. And I was just like, I'm gonna just call and let them tell me a place to go. So yeah, they did that, and I got my referral in. It took a while for me to actually speak to a clinician, but I was kind of persistent, because 2 weeks gone by and I haven't heard about setting up an appointment with a clinician. I called every 3 days, and I was like, hello, I got my referral in and I'm ready to make an appointment. Can I, you know? And eventually I feel like they just got tired. It was like, wait, we're gonna see if a therapist is ready right now. Just hold on the phone. And she went to the phone and we spoke, and gave her a brief rundown of who I was and what I was going through. You know, I told her about the disorder that led me to wanting to get help for mental health, and she just was she was breaking down just what to expect when going to therapy. You know, right away they can't make a diagnosis, or it's gonna take, you know, a couple sessions to warm up and get to know each other, and just a brief overview. So I went in, gotta bring your ID, bring your medical insurance. The first session was about 2 hours, because you gotta fill out a lot of forms. You know, they gotta set you up, put you in the system. So you're just filling out a whole bunch of papers and putting in information in the beginning. Then you move on to a questionnaire, right? And the questionnaire is pretty brief. It's building a relationship with somebody. You got to get to know them and put in the work in order to see the progress. So I just gave her a rundown. The first question, I think it was the first question, was So briefly describe your childhood. Your childhood. I was like, briefly, and I just went off. Like I didn't breathe for like 5 minutes. I was just going in. I was talking about everything, like jumbled too, like all over the place. I cried like as soon as before I even opened my mouth. I was like, damn, I didn't want to cry. Like I tried to not cry, but you're gonna cry. Yeah. So we talked about my childhood. We talked about what did we talk about? We just talked about very general, basic things. Childhood, how do I see myself, just things like that. So yeah, talked about my personality, things that I felt like was wrong with me a lot. Yeah, at the end of that session, I did feel, she did say like sometimes like people feel worse when they come in for their first session, because especially if you have like a whole bunch of things built up that you haven't released, it's like just picking at the scab. You haven't ripped the whole thing off yet, but like you're picking at it, and it causes some pain, it causes some discomfort. So I did feel a little bit like sad. I felt like just I wanted more, like I wanted to do more, but I know like it takes a while for the whole healing process to happen. It doesn't just happen in one day or even now. And then for my second, because now I've only been to therapy twice now. So my second session, at the end of my first session, she just was like, so think of some goals that you want. Because you can't just go to therapy. Like you have to set goals in place in order to create a plan to get things done. Like you just can't be like, I want to be self-confident. And there's like no true goal. Like there's no, you can't just go to therapy and just expect your problems to get better without having a plan, a direction, a conclusion in mind, like an end result you need to have. So yeah, went home, cried a little bit, and started to think about my goals. This one was hard. It was pretty hard. Like, what are my goals? What goals do I want to accomplish with therapy? My first short-term goal was to develop a sense of trust within others. I have a big problem with trusting people and just opening up and letting people in is one of my weaknesses. I don't really understand why I'm like that yet. I kind of have a general, a thought in mind of why I'm like that. But yeah, I just have this thing where I tend to isolate myself and push people away that want to get close to me. And then I complain about it later. I'd be like, oh, I have nobody and I'm so alone. But yeah, I'm the one that's kind of isolating myself and being afraid to just have friends, being afraid that people will, like, if I open up, they'll leave me, like they'll just abandon me because I'm not proud of who I am, like I have so much things going on that I just feel like people shouldn't be subjected to dealing with, So I tend to self-sabotage myself in that area, and it leaves me to just, not have strong friendships or strong bonds with people, family, friends, so be it. I have a hard time trusting people. My second goal, develop self-confidence in order to navigate through the world. So that, that ties in with the trust. Like, I don't trust myself. I don't have confidence in myself to do things. Like, I don't believe I have the ability to do things. And I tend to doubt myself a lot. Like, I would get opportunities thrown my way. And I would literally just be like, no, you're not worthy of trying this out. You're not worthy of having this opportunity when there's people out there that actually wants, to do better, that actually works hard every day, that actually has talent and skills. And I'm just me that's depressed and crying all day, every day. So that tends to cause me to stay home, which is a big problem. I don't have the confidence to go outside. And that's what I felt like really led me to therapy, because even before, in the beginning, when I was really feeling depression, like, I at least would go outside, at least go and do things on my own. Now, I wouldn't do anything by myself, except for stay home and cry. And that you can see how that gets pretty bad. Pretty bad thing to do to yourself day after day after day after year after year, of just not wanting to socialize or not wanting to go outside and not wanting to experience life. So that really weighed me the fuck down a lot. My self-confidence is non-existent, basically. I don't have any self-confidence. The long-term goal was to establish myself within a field so that way I can develop bonds and gain independence and just be able to be my own person and have a true sense of my identity, like to establish what I want to present to the world. Yeah. To establish who I am and what I want to present to the world. So then after we went over the goals, we put in place like plans. Like, she's like, what would you do then to accomplish these things? And we set dates too. So she's like, I'll give you this until this day to accomplish this thing. So one of the things that I really liked, it just was like a light bulb that came on in my head. When I was talking about I wanted to become successful and gain independence and have a sense of identity and stuff like that. She was like, so how are you gonna do that? How are you gonna be successful? And I was like, by not letting opportunities pass me by when they come by, when they present themselves. And she was like, okay, but what if opportunities don't present themselves? What are you gonna do? You're gonna wait for them to come, or? And I was like, I guess I would have to. I said the cheesy answer. I was like, go out there and go find the opportunities myself. I was like, that's pretty vague. I'm gonna go into depth. I was like, maybe I can work on a skill, like find a skill that I want to somewhat define me. Work on that skill and perfect that skill so that I now am putting myself in positions to create opportunities, because my skill is so good that I'm going out there to look for, to network, to build a brand, to do this, to do that, to create, to build. So one thing I've never really done was dedicate all my attention to one skill, because I never felt like I was good at anything, maybe that's because of not having validation of when I do things, or just not having the support system to tell me, oh, you're doing a good job, and things like that. I was like, yeah, maybe I need to find a skill that I relate to, that I can then use as a tool to get me out the house, to get me to bond with others, to get me to think of a way to turn this skill into my job or turn it into a profession. So that really made me feel like, wow, like that makes sense to me, because I've always put myself in put myself into things. Like I would do crochet or yoga or eat nutrition, and then I would not live up to those things, you know. I would just get depressed and feel like I'm not worthy of success and stop and just engage in self-sabotaging behaviors. It really made sense to me that I need to like dedicate my attention towards building up a skill within myself that I feel like would give me, you know, financial freedom, give me the opportunity to network and create friends and all that stuff. So like, yeah, that was pretty cool. And we talked about setting a date for those goals. And yeah, another goal that I set with her was, because I have a hard time leaving the house. Like I am like what they call those people, a hermit at this point. I don't leave the house. Like I only leave the house when my boyfriend is like, hey, you want to get some dinner? I'm like, yeah, I do. It's the only time I would leave the house. I don't leave the house ever on my own for like my own enjoyment or anything like that. So she was like, girl, how you gonna become successful if you don't leave the house? How you gonna do all these things? How you gonna accomplish things by not leaving the house? You know, how you gonna gain confidence at home in your own bubble? And you're right. One of the goals, like another short goal we set, was to leave the house for 3 days a week for at least 30 to 60 minutes. And this sounds fucking crazy. I know it probably sounds like I'm a fucking baby. Like I really can't leave the house. It's fucked up. I know, that's why I'm going to therapy. Yeah, my self-confidence and all that shit, it just weighs me down, you know. It causes me to be stagnant in my life. I don't see any like end to this misery, because I'm just staying in my bubble, literally. Yeah, I'm gonna work on leaving the house more often, and I just gotta try. I gotta get out there. I gotta try. I don't even try because I'm scared, so just gotta try, man. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I'm gonna go like cut this video down and just see what it turns out to be. The main reason why I get insecure about sharing on social media is because I'm like, they're gonna judge me, you know, like I'm not this person they think I am. But you know what, I don't give a fuck what I really don't give a fuck. I already don't fucking like myself, so life is fucking random as fuck. You just gotta understand how to deal with the ups and the downs, you know. And that's what professionals are here for, you know. When people in your life, you feel like they can't relate to what you're going through, or you're embarrassed to talk about what you're going through, or you just haven't been getting the information sent to you through the right messenger, you know. Like sometimes you just need to hear things from a different person, a complete outsider. Fuck everyone else. Look within yourself and start there. Start there, because that's how I started. Look into the resources that you have. I know it's hard because I don't know how healthcare looking nowadays, but I got my healthcare I got my medical insurance like about 3 or 4 years ago, and I just never used it. So now I'm using it. Yeah, try. That's all that matters, to try.